Afternoon there, Jiggly Tears, fans of Jiggly, purple monsters, one-eyed flying purple peoplers, whatever I want to call you guys, I haven't decided yet. I recently did a real quick video on a historical thing. It was a milestone on the old National Road, and it got 13 views, which is about 12 more than what my videos normally get. So today I'm filming from location of the Moxahala Cemetery in what used to be the town of Putnam in Ohio. Now, here behind me is a stone listing the people who are buried here, and the name that I want to talk about today that guy right there, Calvin Conant, or Conant. I have no idea how to pronounce that. And I will get all of the details and make sure I tell the story properly, but he is famous for being Putnam, Ohio's so far one and only grave robber. He was a doctor of sorts, and as the story goes, there was a young lady who died in the area, and he took her body for medical research. Her body was never found after one of his workers discovered it and confronted him about it. He had the body removed, as the story goes. But the reason I'm telling you that story is so that I can tell you another story. That story we need to go over there. So I'm going to stop the camera here, and we're going to walk over there so I can tell you the other part of this story. Yeah, your old pal Jiggly here, he plays like he's kind of stupid. It's a character. But I've always been a big fan of history. And this is some fun history for you. That same grave robber, Calvin Conant, whose headstone is right here in front of me, his own grave through history has been dug up several times. People messing with his body, that kind of thing. So, the Mason Lodge that he was a member of fixed that. This is his grave now. They filled it in with concrete and stone so that you can no longer dig him up. I will get the exact date and continue this story later. This is just, I just happen to be driving by. But there we have it. This is his grave now. That's the answer for people digging up his body and molesting his remains. And I don't mean sexually molesting, but scattering his bones. So that's a little bit of cool history for you. Alright, I am back at the home fires here. And I've got the story that I was telling you at the cemetery pulled up here, and I'm going to read it to you. In the winter of 1822, the local Dr. Calvin Conant had 4 medical students under his tutelage at the time. He also had a gentleman by the name of Jake who cared for his horses. They would all collide in a scandal that rocked the city they lived in, which is, as I said before, Putnam, and leave a ghost reminder of this indignity to a young woman for future generations. It started with a dainty little foot sticking out of the hay in a barn. A dead foot, that is, barely hidden beneath. A dead foot connected to a dead girl. Jake the hostler, which I think is someone who watches your horses, found it when he was tending the horses. Horrified, he ran to the house to tell the doctor, but his headlong rush into the doctor's office was curtailed abruptly by 4 young men who threatened him not to tell about the dead girl in the barn. Jake listened, and while he slept, the dead body was hustled off somewhere else, which, as I said, they never found it after that. When Jake finally could take it no longer and told the doctor, warrants were issued for the young woman. When Jake finally could take it no longer and told the doctor warrants were issued for the young medical student's arrest. It seems the young lady was freshly dead and a very popular girl from Putnam, but when it was all said and done, they could only find the students guilty of stealing grave clothes. The young lady in question had completely disappeared and was never found. Eventually, the young medical students were set free. Dr. Conant was never arrested, and he denied being involved. That's the story that led me to the cemetery where, as you saw. Now, as I mentioned, after this, they found his grave to be open many, many times, and sometime, I want to say in the 60s or 70s, I haven't found that exact date yet, it was found that his grave was open again and his bones strewn on the ground. So the local masons paid to have a new marker made for him, and they filled his grave with concrete and put the rocks over top that I showed you before. But that's it. Now, they say that that particular cemetery that I was at was haunted by both the spirit of the young lady, whose name I don't know, and Dr. Calvin Conant. But I didn't see any ghosts. Who are you going to call, right? But that's it. I'm going to look more into the Reverend Manning, Putnam, and Nancy, and that stuff, and I'll be back.